Welcome to the Abraham Path's 2021 live online tour of Bethlehem. I'm Anisa Mehdi, Executive Director of the Abraham Path Initiative. I'm joining you from New Jersey, USA, and you are here from Canada, Germany, Jerusalem, Kuwait, the Philippines, Romania, Saudi Arabia, Spain, the UK, and the US. Other places too. So glad you've joined us. Thank you for spending this next hour together with your friends and colleagues from around the world. We're going to have fun. Today's live online tour of Bethlehem is sponsored by Pax Sapiens Foundation. Thank you, Pax Sapiens, for your support of the Abraham Path Initiative's live online tour. Abraham Path is a not-for-profit that catalyzes connections to the Middle East, online and on the ground. Since 2007, we've inspired the creation of 1,200 miles of walking trail in Sinai, Palestine, Jordan, and Turkey. Now we're focusing on community-based walking tourism in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Why? Well, when you get to know one another, people from around the globe and people in the part of the world we call the Middle East, we can appreciate the region's traditional hospitality, its spectacular landscapes, and the way of being that is called kindness to strangers in the tradition of Abraham. That's at the heart of the region. And today we bring you to the heart of Bethlehem. Let me introduce you to our guides. Hazem Ben Noura was born in Bethlehem, studied at Houston State University in Texas and at Dar al-Khalima in Bethlehem. He's been a professional Holy Land tour guide since 2012 and loves sharing the history and culture of his city, his nation, and its people. Noor Hodali is operating the camera. Noor has a master's in European studies from Dusseldorf University in Germany. She's worked in the Palestinian film industry for 15 years and was on the team that made the 2021 Academy Award nominated short feature, The Present. You can watch it on Netflix. If you've got questions for Hazem and Noor, please use the chat on your screen's control panel. And now, let's walk in Bethlehem.
Hello, everyone. This is Hazem Ben Noura. I'm a Palestinian tour guide from Bethlehem City. And today, we're going to discover Bethlehem City during the time of Christmas. And we will be walking around, meeting people, interviewing people, and visit some interesting local projects here in the city. First, before we start, the talks about where we are standing. We are standing in the center of Bethlehem City. Behind me is the Manger Square and the Bethlehem Municipality and Peace Center. And in front of me, which is behind you, is the Church of the Nativity. This will be our start of the day for the tour. We will visit the Nativity Church. We will have a short talk with Father Isa, and he will introduce us and take us inside the church. And after that, we will walk around the old city of Bethlehem and meet local people and talk about the daily life, culture, heritage, religion, and Christmas time of Bethlehem. Before we go to the church and we go in, let's just have some small introduction of the city of Bethlehem. When we talk about the city of Bethlehem, Bethlehem City is a very small city. Today, the city itself hosts around 35,000 people. Very small. The whole district is around 210,000 people. And it's a very small district. From where we are standing to Jerusalem, everyone knows also Jerusalem, it's only 10 kilometers, which is around 6 miles. It's not far away, and for some people who love walking, it's easy to walk from here to Jerusalem. If you show from that direction, maybe you can see like the beginning of Jerusalem from there, that direction there. And Bethlehem is very famous of being the birthplace of Jesus and the Nativity Church. But not only that, there is a lot of more stuff also in Bethlehem. When you visit here, make sure to go and visit. Today, we will show you some of these interesting sites, projects, things to see in the city from your home. So we invite you to walk with us in the city of Bethlehem in this time. Let's walk to the entrance of the church. Noor. So we are now looking at the Church of the Nativity. This small gate is the main entrance of the church. Before we start, guys, please make sure if anyone have any question to type it in. Do not hesitate to ask any question. During the tour, we'll have short breaks where we will gonna take your question and answer them and talk and discuss them. Any notes also, please write it, do not hesitate. So, as I said, we are standing at the entrance of the Nativity Church. Just brief introduction to the church. This is to have an idea when you are coming to visit. And when we go inside, we'll explain more about like the details of the church. So we know from the Bible, according to the Bible, Matthew and Luke, the Gospel of Matthew and Luke, they explain about the birthplace of Jesus. We know that Jesus was born in Bethlehem from the Bible. And the first Christian used to come in this place here where there was an inn, because Luke mentioned the details of the birthplace and say there was no place in the inn. So the first Christian used to come here and use the place where Jesus was born, the stables, which is actually in our culture, it's a cave, a grotto under this church. And they used to come here secretly and worship together in this spot. This tradition or this habit start for and continue for around 130 years after Jesus, until you can see some tourists in the city. Actually, we call them local tourists. They are mostly workers who are working in the state of Israel. Today is Saturday, Christmas, so they come in Bethlehem. We will see few going around the city. Unfortunately, the borders are closed, so we don't have like real Christmas pilgrimage tourists, except the workers in Israel or Palestinian who come from other cities around to Bethlehem city. So in 135, we know that this place was covered with sand and pagan temple or shrine was built over it until the Byzantine Empire, which came here and they decided to build the first church, which we call it Helena Church. The first church was built above the location where Jesus was born. This was in the 4th century, in 339. And this church lasted for until 529, which was destroyed or burned from inside. Another church was built in the 6th century, which is still standing until today. So today, when we are looking at the facade of the church, we can see the old gate from the 6th century gate just in the middle. And there was another 2 gates to the left and to the right, smaller one for the entrance. It was built in Basilica style church, which Roman or Greek style back in the time. This church lasted since the 6th century, so a lot of building or construction took place in this church. All the 1,400 years back in the time until today. So we can see that also the gate itself was sealed, and another gate in the middle, you can see the line, which was closed. And then later in the 16th century, the gate was totally closed, and a small door was built to enter the church and out, which we call it today the humble gate, that everyone who's going inside the church have to bow to enter the church. Before we go inside and talk about more details, let me introduce you to the Greek Orthodox father, Father Isa.
Hello. Hello, how are you?
How are you, Father Isa? Father Isa speaks fluent English and Greek, I guess, Arabic, Russian.
Okay. Greek little bit. English much better, but pardon me, my voice is not going out very loud. I'm happy to see you here.
I'm happy to see you too, Father Isa. Father Isa, we have online tour. We already informed you before. We are happy to all the distance today with technology, we can be close together. Just behind this small camera, we have around 75 people watching us, and they are from different countries, some from Germany, some from the States, some from Canada, some from Latin America, some from Saudi Arabia even, so different from all over the world, let's say. And they are happy and they want to hear something from here. But before we start, I have a question for you. Maybe it will be interesting for them. Can you tell us about your name? What does it mean?
My name is Isa. Isa's mean Jesus in Arabic. So this is what actually named after Jesus Christ in Bethlehem, but I was named after my grandfather names. So many people actually named after their grandfather's names. So I'm really glad to have this name because this is the place where Jesus was born. This is the place where it began the story and the message of peace and love. So it's really nice to be in Bethlehem and to have this exact name as to share it.
Thank you, Father Isa.
Yes, welcome.
Father Isa, can you tell us about Bethlehem during Christmas today? We just started the tour, so we still didn't explain about the situation during the pandemic, how Bethlehem, because Bethlehem was the second city to be shut down after Wuhan in China. So tell us about today, like almost 2 years later, how it is today.
It's actually much better than before. Since Corona, COVID-19 started, Bethlehem was actually, it's like locked down, no people, no local people even. And they were afraid from Corona, they were afraid from everything. But now you can see actually the local people and little people from outside the country. And this is because still Corona, we are having still Corona. And still people still afraid and concerned about this COVID-19. But in Bethlehem, actually we are survived as a miracle. We don't know how, because you know Bethlehem is an touristic area. Without the church, without the souvenir shops, without the hotels, without anything, Bethlehem is not working at all. So that's why we are telling people to come, not to be afraid from anything. Even the pandemic is here, but we still actually survive. We still safe. We still have no any problems of any COVID-19. Still, some people have got this Corona, but they are covered, cured, and no any problems. Thank God. But because this is the place where Jesus was born, all the people actually look to the Nativity Church during this month, because this is actually Christmas time, Christmas evenings. And so many people are going to come and they are willing to come. But during this pandemic, they couldn't come. But we still expect some people to come and to share with us and to celebrate with us the night of Christmas.
So what about going inside and invite these people to come from their homes and join us? Let's go, Father Isa. Yeah. So here we're gonna walk you together with Father Isa and enter the Nativity Church.
It's nice to let people see and let people to know about the place where Jesus was born. I know many people know about it and have been here, but so many people still not coming here.
So here we have to bow. This is why it's called the humble gate. Everyone have to give respect.
As you can see, we are now inside the church, but not as much people are inside the church. You used to have the line till outside. Now we have little people, which is okay. I'm happy for this, as to see people are coming, are sharing with us, praying with us, celebrating with us even.
Yeah. So let me just give brief explanation, Father Isa, about like the church and where we are standing. We are now in the Basilica. This is the oldest church in the world that's still standing from the 2nd century until today. So everything you look around, this is from the 7th century, and the decorated was later. So let me explain it in layers. We have, I will make it a bit like that. We have, you see, what is the people are heading under that underground. There is a cave or grotto. This is the spot where Jesus was born. Over it, the first church was built, which is, we call it Helena Church, that I explained outside. And this mosaic floor that Noor now showing you, this is from the 4th century. And this was discovered in 1927 when an earthquake hit Palestine. Every 100 years, we have an earthquake hitting the area. And the church did renovation for the floor, and a British architect and engineer discovered this mosaic carpet underground, and they kept it like this to be open for public. We have also, over this ruins of the church, we have the church that's still standing from the 2nd century. These columns, we call it sliding stone. It's a red stone that from Bethlehem area. And these columns are 1,500 years. And above the columns, we have wood from the cedar tree from Lebanon. And then we have decoration of the mosaic. This mosaic that you can see in these walls, these are from the 12th century, beginning of the 12th century, from the Crusaders. And the church is only now start to open, or that you can see, because it was under renovation since around 2013, right? Yeah. This is, of course, briefly, and I will ask Father Isa some question about the church. What is your favorite thing in the church?
Actually, is my favorite thing in Nativity Church is where Jesus was born, the star. Now we'll go there as they will see it. But the most historical things, actually, the mosaics that in the floor. It was actually from the beginning when they started Helen and Constantine, the church, and this was from that time, from that century. So this is actually, when we see it, when we look at it, it's really nice. You can see most details now, and you can actually just be embarrassed about looking at it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we cannot go down because of the connection.
Yeah.
So we will just explain about the basilica, but we can go to the entrance and show them inside. This is here, Noor, if you show them the iconostas, this is where the Greek Orthodox Church took their masses. And this is actually where Father Isa got me married.
Yes,
I hope my wife is not watching now, but she will watch it later. So will put me in some troubles. Oh, I can see some of my neighbors actually. So yeah, I was locals get married here in the church. We use it. It's our church. And 3 years ago, I got married here, and Father Isa was my priest.
We are always happy to have people getting married in the place where Jesus was born. So many people are married here, not only from Bethlehem, from Beit Sahur, from Beit Jala, from Jerusalem, from Ramallah, from all over the world. Even if they want to ask to come and to celebrate, they are Orthodox. And if they are Catholic, they have the other Catholic church. And if they are Armenian, we have the Armenian church. So we can share it together. We are happy to receive people here and to be blessed in the place where Jesus was born.
Noor, let's go and show them the entrance of the, we will show them the entrance. So this is where people are lining up, and as Father Isa was explaining, back in the time or in usual season, in this time of the year, the line will be until outside. But today, because of the pandemic, we don't have tourists, so very few people are entering. Nor maybe from there they can see inside, but we cannot go inside, unfortunately, due to the connection, the network connection here inside is not good. We are now, Noor is showing you the entrance of the grotto where Jesus was born. And if you take all these steps down to the right, you will see the star. And this star is marked the birthplace of Jesus. And to the left is the spot of the manger. بلش نمشي. Also here where people come, locals and tourists, buy candles and they light it. Now we are going outside the church to continue the interview with Father Isa, and then we're gonna head to the Manger Square and meet some locals. We're gonna
كل ما اشوف شوي مشتريات مو مشكله لك يعني ما بنستفيدش منهم البلد، عرفت؟ لا بيناموا ولا بيروحوا على سوفينيرز.
Father Isa,
Yes.
Bethlehem always have Christmas message.
Yes.
What is your message that you want to tell to our audience who are with us today?
Since Jesus was born here in Bethlehem, we always send the message of peace and love. And this is what we always send, and we every day send it from the Nativity Church to all over the world. And this is the most important thing, is to have peace and love in all over the world. But now we have to send the other message, which is hope, which is keep us exist in the place where Jesus was born, and to send the message of hope for all of you, over the people. And also the message of mercy, justice, to be humble. This is always the message as keep us surviving this world, and also it's just keep us strong enough to have the strong faith, strong trust in God. This is what exactly we need as to be connected to each other. Corona and COVID-19 actually make us, everyone, not connected to each other's, not going to other homes, each other's homes, even to be far away from each other's. And this is what exactly the devil wants. We want again to be back united. We have to be connected to each other. We have to love each other. And this is what exactly the message that I send from Bethlehem to all of the world.
Father Isa, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I will see you for sure.
I'm happy to see everyone here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Salam. Salam, it means peace. We say it like hello or like goodbye. So peace on you. Salamu alaikum. So thanks to Father Isa. Well, let's walk a little bit here, and we have some question.
Sure.
Okay, I'll take some questions, then we will continue going around the city. Krista asked, Palestine has a history of invasion, which includes the Crusaders. How do Christian Palestinians relate to this period of Christian history in relation to their history as Palestinian subjects to foreign rule? Okay. Krista, so I will answer this question. It's 50 Fahrenheit temperature, but it feels like zero. So me and Noor are freezing already, but we will do it. We will move a little bit and then it's cool. I am Palestinian Christian, by the way. we see like Palestine since forever. It's always under occupation or colonization. It depends. Even until now, we still don't have a real state of Palestine. We have Palestinian Authority, which is lower than a state. And how we see the Crusaders, when the Crusaders actually conquered Jerusalem, they killed 5,000 local Christians because they didn't distinguish between the Christian and the Muslim. We all look the same for them. And yes, they were like colonizer. We see them still the same with colonizer. But today we see them as part of the history, that they came here as a colonizer, they left. Even when we talk about like any other people who were here as colonizer, we try to see the positive thing of what they left from their colonization or occupation. So when we enter the church and we explain about like the art during the Crusaders' time, like this mosaic, it's true it was done. We say that this is a crusade, but the one who did it, the artist, even one of the artist's name is in one of the mosaic, they were locals. But the Crusaders funded or give the order, it was in that, or was in that period, we don't know. But as historian, as archaeologists, we see it in that way, that during the Crusaders' time, a local artist did it. So probably they approve that this decoration should be done, especially that the Crusaders is the one who established Bethlehem Bishop. So until today, we have Bishop of Bethlehem, and this is still a tradition from the Crusaders. We have Raju ask, are people in a peaceful state or do the people feel high alert? When we are talking about peace, back in the time, especially that now, Noor is telling me that we have to move, Yes, I will answer the question. I will answer it, especially in Bethlehem. If you are familiar with the history of Palestine, or especially what's happened here in Bethlehem, through history, we were under colonization and occupation until Oslo agreements or Oslo Accords in 1993 and 95. A peace agreement was signed between the Palestinian people and the Israeli government. In that day, Israel decided withdraw from some of the Palestinian cities in the West Bank. Bethlehem was one of them. So when they withdraw here in this building, which today is called Peace Center, was a police station. And when the Israeli authority or the Israeli army left from here, the local decided to say, okay, now it's time for peace. So we start from the city of peace, which is Bethlehem. They built the center instead of police station or prison, and they call it the peace center. It was kind of people, everyone have the hope that now we will start with the peace, with the real peace. Unfortunately, this peace didn't last for a long time. 6 years later or 5 years later, broke up second intifada, and until today we still have living under occupation basically. So people in alert, it depends where, and it depends how we move. But yes, you have to keep in mind as local people, local Palestinian, that when you leave from one city to another city, there was the armies existed or the Israeli armies existed, and a lot of people will be on alert. But as you can see, it's still peaceful city, very calm as usual, and hopefully we will have peaceful Christmas. Marie Turner would like an explanation on the size of the door of the Church of the Nativity. Noor, can you show them the door from far away before we go around? I'll take this question, then we will continue going around, and then we will take another question in the next break. So if you look at the door, I know still from far away, we have 3 layers in the wall itself, and it's showing that 3 times the door was closed. The first time the main door, original door was built, which is from the second church, from the 6th century, very huge door. Then when the Crusaders were here, the Crusaders made the church look like a castle, like a fortified building. It doesn't look like a church. It's not a cathedral. It's different. They fortify it and make it more for like basically security. Second, for respect. Back in the time, the knights used to enter the church on their horses, and this is disrespectful. Also, don't forget that we are standing in the main square of Bethlehem, and Bethlehem is the only city which have a main square. So here is the local market on Friday and on Sunday back in the time. So a lot of animals and also the animal market will go unscathed and enter the church while there is a mass. Plus colonization, a lot of people came and colonize this area, so more for protection. So they closed the two doors to the left and the right. They built for some wall to protect the church, and they sealed the gate, which is in the middle of the huge gate. You can see a line of the old gate, it's like a pointed arch, which is from the Crusaders. The Crusaders were here from 1099 to 1187. And then they left. Then in 1516, exactly, the locals during the Ottoman time, which is the Ottoman were the new colonizer here, they decided to make the door more and more smaller. So they built they built another wall and left this small entrance for the church, which we call it today the humble gate. We probably, some people see it as a positive thing. They build it as kind of giving respect for the church. Some people see it as not positive, which is for protection, which means that the local felt that there is danger, but we don't know. We don't have an exact source about why. So we call it the humble gate as kind of more respect, because don't forget that for the Christians, this is the place where the doors between heaven and earth were open for the first time in history, which is the word become flesh. If you go to the Bible, the word become flesh and dwelt among us. So this is where for the first time, it's open between heaven and earth, and Jesus was born. Okay, let's walk around. So we talked about the Peace Center. No, careful, there is a car. We are at the Manger Square. This square was established after an earthquake that took place in the beginning of the 20th century, destroyed all the buildings here. Yes, no. Then the municipality decided to keep it as it is today. Also, if we look there, we will see the Christmas tree, Bethlehem Christmas tree, more or less tree together. And this tree, we have to go around north. We lighted the tree 2 weeks ago, and Bethlehem City is the first city. We lighted the tree in the world. After that, start the other cities to light their tree to start preparation for the celebration of Christmas or the beginning of the Christmas season. And we have a lot of activity happening in Bethlehem. Some of them is the Christmas market, which was last week. Another activity is inside the Peace Center, which is now we have some exhibition for local products, or actually today is the day of Palestinian photographer that he was photographer since 70 years, for 70 years, and inside there is an exhibition for his art. So as you can see, we are standing in front of the Nativity Bethlehem Christmas tree. People come from all over Palestine today to take picture of this tree. As you can see, not only the Christian who are celebrating Christmas, but also Muslim and Christian. It's a national holiday here for the people. Also, let me just talk about the Christmas season since we are in Bethlehem. In Bethlehem, we don't celebrate Christmas one time in a year. We celebrate Christmas 3 times in a year, actually. And we start with 24th of December, that here will be all the locals from all over Palestine, plus international. They will come here to welcome the patriarch coming from Jerusalem all the way, walking the Star Street, which we're gonna walk later. And then at the Manger Square, the scout will come and be playing music in front of the patriarch, going to the church, and in the night we start the midnight mass. The same celebration will take place 13 days later, which is with the Greek Orthodox Christmas in the 6th of January, and the third one will be with the Armenian, because the three domination is the three Christian domination who existed inside the church. Yeah, let's talk about. So Father Isa mentioned about Bethlehem is a tourist city, and the main income of the city is tourism, as you can see. We will just walk around some souvenir shop and see the local products. Opa. So one of the famous thing in Bethlehem is the handicraft. As you can see, if you look at this nativity scene, this is all carved by hand by locals from Bethlehem. This is made from the olive wood. This handicraft is since over than 400 to 500 years. That locals started drying the olive trees and carved by hand the nativity figures, and then sell it to tourists. This is one of the handicrafts of Bethlehem. Another one, more if we look here, we will see the mother of pearl. It's also made, and not only Christian figures, also some Islamic scene or art will be sold for tourists. But as you might know, that most of our tourists, the majority, more than 95% of them are pilgrimage who comes to Bethlehem city. So drying the olive tree, the olive branches for one whole year, then carving them to show this scene, big or small. Make sure to come and visit one of these souvenir shops and see the local products. Also, if you are interested, you can go and visit one of the workshop that they do these kinds of stuff here. Noor? Noor, I know you already started to get hungry, Noor, and they still didn't have their breakfast probably. So let's talk about food so everyone get. This is one of the local restaurants. The Palestinian cuisine is vegetarian cuisine, and we have a lot of famous dishes. The most famous one is makluba. Makluba, the name means upside down. Noor already say yummy, yummy, yummy. Yeah, I know, Noor, me too. The makluba is made from rice and vegetables. We fry the vegetables, put it with the rice, then we boil it, and after it's ready with very special spices, they took the dish and put it upside down, then they take the pot up so it looked like a cake. So that's why the dish called upside down, which is makluba in Arabic. A lot of local restaurants made it actually. So when you are walking around the city, make sure to try it. There is plus a lot of other dishes. About local drinks, we also can see up the sign. You can see Taibi beer. It's one of the local beer. The brewery is in Ramallah city, and it was opened in the 90s. We also have here some tourists, but they are not tourists. They are from international. Yes, no?
Question for you.
Fish. Not yet. Yeah, okay. Also, one of the online tour تحب تحكي تعيد عليهم اونلاين تور تحب تعيد عليهم شو يعني بنعيد امريكان لبيت So I told him that we have online tour and if you want to say something. So تعرفنا عن حالك.
I am from Bethlehem.
Your name?
My name is John.
John from Bethlehem. John, how is Christmas in Bethlehem this year?
As 2 years later, it's sad. Sad.
No tourist, huh?
Not only economy, politically, healthy, everything is bad.
So, what do you want? Anything you would like to tell to our audience today?
I hope that American policy will bring a real Christmas to this world.
John have a ceramic shop in the Manger Square. When you are standing in the middle of the Manger Square, just look around and you will see Holy Land handicrafts. These souvenirs made from pottery with some art painting over it. And then they put layer of glass on the pots and put it in a very high temperature in the oven. Then they make this kind of decoration. It's just around the corner. And this is John. John, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah. This is Palestinian. I can show them the details. And actually, only a few days ago that this art of embroidery became in the list of the intangible heritage of humanity for the UNESCO. So it's became UNESCO art. And it's Palestinian dresses all made by hand, like the embroidery. And this you see it more today with the old generation, the women. They wear it and walk around. With the new generation, not really, but only in the weddings. A woman will. عندنا online tour إذا بتحبي تحكي. Yeah, I was telling the owner of the shop that we have online tour. If she wanted to speak, she said no, she prefers staying beside the heater. And this embroidery made by hand, and every city have their own decoration of like or style. If we see it in that one, or maybe behind you, you show them this design. So each one represents a city, and it depends what the city is famous for. So, for example, Bethlehem dress have 4 flowers or squares, and in the middle a cross, because back in the time the majority of Bethlehem population were Christian, so they were kind of representing the identity. In some areas, if you come from this village, it's famous of this flower, so you will see this kind of flower as the decoration. Yeah.
Embroidery.
So John is showing us the embroidery, the hand.
Each one have, you could see it's a garden because each woman have a different design with different colors. Unfortunately, they bring the Saudi and Wahhabis to Palestine, and they became now covered with these fanatic dress, and they throw these beautiful dresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful traditional dresses.
Yeah. He's talking about how the new generation is not also wearing it, and now we go to buy like the imported stuff.
You could see here is the pocket.
Yes, the
for the
woman
woman.
used to hide her stuff inside the pocket, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Safe.
Yes, I remember my grandma. She used to wear this dress. She used to put the stuff inside.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye.
Noor, this fall down. There's no wind here. لا لا عادي.
لا لا أمريكاني ولا
Okay, so we mentioned Oslo agreements actually, but we didn't mention the municipality. Noor,
Love to see the
just
municipality.
behind you, show them the two buildings of the municipality, Bethlehem municipality. And actually, what you might not know that the mayor of Bethlehem is and should be Christian. This is a protocol that since the establishment of the university actually, and when the Oslo agreements, the Palestinian Authority was established based on the Oslo agreement or Oslo Accords, they made sure that this law will continue. Not only Bethlehem City, the mayor should be Christian, but also another 6 municipality in Palestine, the mayor should be Christian. So we were explaining about the Nativity Church, and we just give brief explanation. Some of you ask about how we see the Crusaders as colonizer when they came here and what they did here. We also didn't talk about before that. Like, for example, we know that first, let's start with 0 when Jesus was born, around, let's say, 6 BC, let's say 0. And then goes on the story. We talked about like how the Christian used to be like underground sect or living under persecution from the Romans. Later on, the Byzantine Empire came here, and some ladies saying hello. They think that we are news, but we are not. The Byzantine became here and make it official religion of the empire is Christianity. Later on, we have the Muslim who became the new conquered here, who entered here in 636, sieged Jerusalem and made an agreement with the Patriarch of Jerusalem. And then we have the Caliph, Umar bin Khattab, who did the agreement and make sure that the Christian will be treated well under the new ruler. So Umar bin Khattab himself came to Bethlehem, and actually he wanted to pray inside the Church of the Nativity. Why he prayed inside the Church of the Nativity? Because Muslims believe in Jesus. And they have even in the Al Imran quotation from the Quran, they explain about the birthplace of Jesus. They also mention some miracles that were not mentioned in the Bible that Jesus did. So he entered the church, he prayed inside the Church of the Nativity, but before he left, there was an agreement that the church will be used always as a church only. Muslim can enter inside, pray inside individually, not use it as a mosque or have group prayer inside. And this continued through history from the 7th century until the 19th century, when the Greek Orthodox Church decided to give this area for the Muslim to build a mosque, because the Muslims do not have a mosque in the old city of Bethlehem. Bethlehem old city is very small, 7 old quarters, 6 Christian, 1 Muslim. So back in the time, more than 100 years ago, the majority were Christians, minority were Muslims, but the Muslim didn't have a mosque. So all the time they used to come and enter the church until the Greek Orthodox Church solved this problem by giving them a spot to have a mosque. So this mosque was named after Umar bin Khattab, who prayed inside the Nativity Church. And now Muslims have a mosque here, and they can pray in it. Noor?
Yeah.
We go from, yeah. Let's go and see the local market. I will also want to check the questions. Noor, would you like some falafel? Yeah, I know you know. After the tour, I'll invite you. Okay. Here, no, this is falafel. If you are here, please make sure to come here and try it. Even if you are not hungry, you can buy some from it and eat and try it. I know you have tried falafel, but if you've never been to the Middle East and never been to Palestine, then you never ate real falafel. I lived in the States, I lived in Germany in my life, but always the best falafel is here. مرحبا كيفك شو الأخبار؟ شو اسمك؟ تحكي إنجليزي ولا لا؟ بس عربي. He only speaks Arabic. His name is شو اسمه؟ Yasin. Yasin. So this is one of the local famous restaurants for only falafel. As you can see, this is oil. They boil the oil, and this is the dough. They put the dough inside, and then they make the falafel. And after that, you order your pita bread with salad and sandwich, and you have a seat inside this very old restaurant. More, you can show them from here. You will not be able to go inside because of the network, but they can see it. The falafel is this dough is made from the beans, actually, from the same as the hummus beans. You want? I will try one. What? You have to have one. I will not eat alone. شكرا حبيبي. يسعدوك. The best thing in Palestine is the Palestinian hospitality. Any place you go, they offer you something. And if you say no, that's mean you want. And they force you to eat it. Let's have find a spot where we can answer some questions. We already have some questions. More, maybe here. It is really very good, very crispy. Okay, I'll take some question. So, Krista has a question about the handicrafts. Are local artisans able to export their handicraft around the world? Actually, what we have seen is this, like across the city, there is a lot of like these souvenir shops where you can go and do shopping, and Bethlehem is very famous of free tax, so you can just come shopping and leave. It's cheap for tourists to buy these handicrafts, but this is not the main market of these handicrafts. The main market is the USA. Yes, when we talk about like Palestine and especially Bethlehem, like any other Palestinian city, we have big families. For example, my family are 1,300 who are living here in the east, like just 1 kilometer or 1 mile from the Nativity Church towards the east. And my family living here since hundreds of years. During, like before Thanksgiving, more than half of them family, they travel to the US to sell their local handicrafts. Plus, we can export it today with easily by shipping it. So yes, we do export. The main market is the USA plus Europe, but USA is the really main market. If you walk around like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, you will see inside the malls like these booths where people selling these handicrafts across all the USA. You might meet some of my cousins for sure. I'll take the other question. Raju has a question regarding security. I don't see any police or security. Is it normal, the case, or is it like this during slow times? When you're talking about like, yeah, we have police actually. They were at the entrance of the Nativity Church, but they are tourism police. You see police, not a lot, but they are around. Usually, Palestine is safe regarding the normal life. When it's come to regarding the conflict, if there is Israeli army in the area, the Palestinian Authority have to go inside their police station. They are not allowed to be in the street to not have a conflict between them. So yeah, you will see police everywhere, but not like any other country. You see a lot of police. For me, it's safe. That's why. Another question we have from unknown. The mayor of Bethlehem has to be Christian. Is it unique or it is unique because today we are talking about the Christian. They are very low percent. Palestine is a Muslim country or majority Muslims. Today we are 0.08. So 0.08 in the election, no one win. But because there is this agreement or this status quo or protocol, the mayor should be Christian. That's why it's unique. It's kind of like to show that the Christian are always represent in the state of Palestine, and especially in Bethlehem. Krista asked about how has the construction of the wall affected life in Bethlehem and access to Jerusalem. The separation, this is really like a big subject, as Noor mentioned. The separation wall was built in around 2002 to 2004. It's 720 kilometers. 72 kilometers of the wall is surrounding Bethlehem. And it disconnects Bethlehem from Jerusalem. Not easy to access, even for us as locals during Christmas, Easter, to go to Jerusalem, which is only 6 miles. We need a permit from the Israeli authorities to go to work. The same, we have 2 families which became separated because of the wall. Each of them got different identity or different ID, plus the economic situation. People come visit Jerusalem or visit Israel, and when it's about coming to Bethlehem or Palestine or the West Bank, they are a little bit scared to see this huge wall, make them a little bit scared. So it's big. It's made a big impact on the economic and on the daily life here in Palestine.
Yes, we used to go by our cars to Jerusalem and other.
Noor just mentioned, if you didn't hear it because I have the mic, back in the time we used to drive just to Jerusalem with our own cars, with everything. Today we cannot because we need a permit to go, and we are only allowed to use public transportation to go to Jerusalem. Okay, Yalla, it means let's go or go. And this is a very famous word. You might even find coffee shop called Yalla or some projects. We are now walking in the beginning of the Star Street. The Star Street, from the name, it was named the Star Street, followed the event of the birthplace of Jesus, the star that appears in Bethlehem in the time when Jesus was born, according to the Bible. And the 3 wise men followed the star all the way to Bethlehem. So they walked from this street to the way to the, which is today the Nativity Church. Noor, and today this street, if you keep walking it till the end, you will start with the Manger Street, and then you walk 5 minutes, then you are at the separation wall or at the checkpoint crossing to Jerusalem. Let's stop at one of the shops. This is, what's your name?
Aladdin.
His name is Alauddin. No wishes today. Maybe next time, maybe when you come here, you can have wishes. Yeah. Alauddin, this is your shop. Huh?
That's my shop, since 15 years. Yeah. Since 15 years.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're selling and the products?
We sell all kind of scarf, Palestinian scarf. We sell rug, olive wood, stuff, and we sell embroidery. There's many embroidery stuff, and the scarf, ceramic. We sell bag, all kind of leather bag.
How is it like this year with your shop and during the pandemic?
None, zero. All the tourists, they're not allowed to come. The people, They want to come, but they're not allowed because they close the airport, and there's a new type with COVID. No anymore. Like tourists, they will come. That's how's going on.
So behind this camera, there is around 75 people are watching from different all over the world. What you would like to tell them during the Christmas time?
Merry Christmas for all, and I wish you a New Year's with no COVID, nothing, and good health. And you are welcome anytime. It's really here. It's okay, but we don't know what will happen next time. You are welcome anytime. Come to here and come visit us, and you are welcome anytime.
Thank you, Aladdin.
You are welcome.
Is this your magic flying carpet?
Not flying anymore.
Not flying anymore. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Have a good day. No? So if you look to the left and to the right, you will see all the buildings. If you have never been to the Middle East, or especially to Palestine, are built from this type of stones. If you look here, this is called limestone. We call it white oil. And the most famous limestone comes from south of Bethlehem city, which is, we saw some part of it inside the Nativity church. Before I continue, this is a call for prayer from Omar bin Khattab Mosque. I will let you hear it to have the feeling of being with us here. So this is calling for prayer. The Imam starts reading from the Quran, and after he reads, he called for the prayer, saying, God is the greatest, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah. I testify that there is no God but Allah. Then he continue. He said this twice, and then he continues to testify that Muhammad is God's prophet. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Then hayya ala salah, come to prayer. Then hayya ala al-falah, come to salvation. God is the greatest, and there is no God except but Allah, which is God. This is the calling of prayer. Muslims pray 5 times in a day. Noor is showing you also the entrance of the Bethlehem vegetables market. Unfortunately, there is no network connection up, so we cannot go. It will disconnect. هون بس أنا أحكي عن الحلو. So we are now at one of the local pastry shop. This is Christmas sweets that everyone comes to. This is Basil. I know Basil from university.
He's my teacher.
He was my teacher and still my teacher. Actually, I learned from him all the guiding techniques that how to act with people, how to use my hand while talking about something or building or something like this. I give him $10 to say that, just to let you know. Basil, can you tell us about what? Actually, this is a Palestinian traditional for Christmas. We did it for Christmas. As you see, this is halwa, sesame. We put a little sugar, but many and lot of sesame. Also, we have many kinds of traditional sweet from coconut and chocolate and like this. Okay. So Basil, behind this camera, there is 75 people watching Bethlehem from their homes from all over the world. What you would like to tell them as a local Christian from Bethlehem? As a local and a Palestinian Christian from here, we are beside the Syriac church, nearby the Nativity church. I will say for them, you are welcome. Hopefully that Corona will end and get to stop the bleeding of Corona, that there is nobody is coming for Bethlehem and just from people from here. And so you are welcome anytime, and Merry Christmas. Thank you, and Merry Christmas. I'll just summarize about these pastry, these sweets. They are all mostly made from sesames. So there is two ways. First, the sesames, and then we squeeze it and we make it as a syrup, which is tahini. Plus, we make this, what is called halva. Halva is made from the sesame seed. It's a very sweet also, and it's very delicious. If you've never tried it, make sure to find a Middle Eastern shop beside your house and go and buy it and try it. It's very sweet and delicious. And then from the sesame themselves, they put syrup and nuts over it. They made it like this, that people come and buy it, plus the coconut, which is this one. Make sure when you walk around the market to come and say hello to Basil. Basil, I wish you a happy Christmas. I will see you around next week in the Christmas parade. And for sure, I'm coming with my family to buy these stuff. Yalla, bye-bye.
We have questions.
Yeah, let me see if Sam is here.
About the stones.
Yeah, I will explain about the stone, but let me just try to find Sammy. Trying to find Sammy. Okay, Sammy is not here. Okay, now this is a calling of prayer. God is the greatest. Allahu Akbar. So I was explaining about stone. This is a limestone. We have two types of limestone. We have this one, which is the white limestone, and we have one we saw inside the Nativity chair, the columns, which we call it the red limestone. And that's actually the most famous one that comes from Bethlehem. This is one of the main income of Bethlehem city, the limestone. And that's why we call it the white oil. Which mean, or white gold, some people even call it, which mean if you have land and your land have this type of hard limestone that people use for construction, you became very rich immediately. You just rent your land or start selling these products. And Palestine, especially Bethlehem, is very famous of this limestone. I will check the question before we continue. Is this call for prayer live or recorded? This is so Noor said this is recorded, but in the holidays they have it live. Since I think 4 or 5 years start to be central, start from Ramallah, that they the one call for prayer for all the mosques in Palestine. Ramallah is the de facto capital of Palestine. We also have a question about food. Was the Palestinian diet always vegetarian? And the Palestinian food, if you go back with the history, it was vegetarian. Only recently they start, we start having meat cooked with it. But even though, for example, my mom still cooks separated. When she make the makluba, she don't mix it with chicken or any type of meat at all. When I say vegetarian, I'm talking about the cooking stuff. But we have one famous dish that people in the holidays or in the feasts or in the weddings, funeral, it's very important to slaughter a lamb. And after you slaughter the lamb, you cook the lamb and you have to eat all the lamb with the whole family. They make a big feast for it. But so this is not vegetarian. Not necessarily mansaf, maybe kidra noor, صح? Kidra. So this is when you are invited. Noor is hungry. So we are walking now down the Star Street.
Can you mention about the stones? These are older than the one we have seen before.
Yeah, there is also at the entrance. We can see it at Bab Damascus Gate. So as you can see here, the Star Street, most of the shops are closed. Back in the time, this street was full of tourists. Today, no tourists here. Noor. So historically now we are leaving the city of Bethlehem. We might have some small disconnection. Because we are entering a tunnel or an arch. لازم توقف هناك صح؟ Okay, where are we standing now? We are exactly at the entrance or the old historic entrance of Bethlehem city. Here there was a gate back in the time, not in my time, 100 or maybe thousands of years. And this gate used to be called as Damascus Gate, or even they call it Jerusalem Gate. Why Damascus Gate? Why Jerusalem Gate? Because this direction towards the north, and the north is first you have Jerusalem, 6 miles, and after Jerusalem, all the way the trading routes continue to Damascus. So in Jerusalem, there is official Damascus Gate. In Bethlehem, small Damascus Gate, but Bethlehem is not famous as Jerusalem, especially with trading. Noor mentioned about like the old stone. If you see these stones here, this stone with this frame, these are reused stone from back in the time, and these are really very old stones because we are standing at the historical gate of Bethlehem, which is since probably hundreds of years here. There we can see also one of the local projects. Noor, here. Guys, please, if anyone have question, write it down because we're gonna explain about this project, then we'll take question. This is a mosaic center. And what you are looking at is the Tree of Life tree made from mosaic from Ahmed. Let's go and visit Ahmed. Noor. Ahmed, وينه؟ تعالوا. وين أحمد؟ هاي نور فوت. يلا 5 دقائق بكون عندي. أحمد 5 دقائق بكون عندي. لا أحمد. أنا أحمد. أحمد. أنا أحمد. الولد. محمود. شامل. مش ها؟ بديها ليش كمان شوي لا بالله حكي شو ما انتم ماشي Okay, this is a local project, one of many, here it's a little bit warmer than outside, one of many mosaic center in Palestine, and mainly the tourist cities. Okay, I will go outside because we have phone call. So this is Mosaic Center. Here they do training for locals how to make mosaic. It's kind of to have their own project as side income. This part of the mosaic. This is part of what is called Madaba map. It's famous of being the biggest or the main map of the Holy Land, including Jordan, and actually I think part of Syria and Lebanon, from the 6th century. The project is to train the locals to make these kind of mosaic, plus to sell these products as local product here in Palestine. So as you can see, what Noor now showing you, these very beautiful mosaic are all made here. How they made it, these stones are local stones. They collected from all Palestine and Jordan. They cut it small pieces and then they put it together upside down. After they finish, they put a layer of concrete above it and then they flip it to have this stuff. Noor, here you can see. What I wanted also to show, this is a very new project here. Wait till Noor finish. This is also a very new project started by Ahmed. It's called Micro Mosaic. If you're looking at this one here, you can see the Jerusalem cross. This is 5 crosses together, represent the 5 wounds of Jesus in the cross in Jerusalem. So that's why it became famous of being the Jerusalem cross. Beside it is Jerusalem, part of Madaba map. They made it as necklace. They put okay, sorry for this. In the old city of Bethlehem, and the walls are really huge and thick. I will take some. We have one question. What is the common dish shared between Israeli and Palestinian? Actually, there is no common dish. The Israeli, they came from all over the world before 1948 and after. So they came with different dishes. They came here, they promote some of the Palestinian dishes as Israeli dishes, but it's not a common one. Like for example, shakshuka. Shakshuka is a very Palestinian dish, and now Israel promoting as Israeli dish. But there is no official Israeli dish until now. So this was the last question for Palestinian diet. We talked about it. Yeah. Okay. نور تعال عندي خلينا ننهي. نور ننهي. Let me see. Okay.
So, yes, we can go further, a bit more, but when we
Yeah.
the
Wait,
connection.
wait, wait. Okay.
لا احنا مش اجانب،
لا
إحنا أهل
مش
البلد.
اجانا البلد.
أهلا
اهلا
وسهلا.
وسهلا.
بحكي انجليزي
نحكي
وبحكي
عنا
عربي.
اونلاين. They thought we are internationals because we are speaking English. لا أنا سحوري. Are you international? شكرا. تسلم الله. They thought we are international since we are speaking English. So guys, thank you so much for participating in our initiative online Bethlehem for the year 2021. It was our pleasure to show you Bethlehem. Thank for everyone for all the efforts that they did to make this online tour happen. Thanks to Noor, who's starving and want to go and eat falafel. And also, just keep in mind, Corona still didn't over. Take care, guys. Take care of the old people. It's most important. Keep your mask on, according to Noor. But despite the Corona, Bethlehem still celebrate Christmas. And actually, one thing that we saw it positive from the pandemic, the family. We became more close to our family. We don't, for people who doesn't have not close, the neighbors, everyone around us. So it's kind of like we always need each other to continue. We are not alone in this. The whole world will face it and will go through it. We believe that. And I believe that soon I will see you in Bethlehem. This was Hazem Bannoura and Noor Al Hodli from Bethlehem. We wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.